Hello there folks, welcome back to the Chap's Guide. My name is Ash and I am your host on this journey through men's style, self-development and personal grooming. Now over the last week I've done some programming on the channel all around wristwatches because it's coincided with Watches and Wonders, the annual celebratory event where the watch industry sort of showcases their work for the coming year for everybody to see. And I did a video on my response to the Rolex releases, as I'm a bit of a Rolex fan, and also a response to the Tudor releases because I also rather like the Tudor brand, but I didn't talk about many of the other brands because I have no expertise or knowledge in particular about many of the others. However, I thought I would do a roundup video today just to sort of finish off the Watches and Wonders week with some of the pieces which particularly piqued my interest, which I found outstandingly attractive or fascinating or interesting. So let us begin, and I've got some images that I'd like to share with you. The first one which caught my eye was the Oris Pro Pilot 10 or X, and it's the Kermit edition. Now this watch is a titanium piece and it was something of an unexpected surprise from Oris, that's true to say. It's a no-frills pilot's watch which is 39mm in size, and it's made of titanium case, 100 meters of water resistance, and it's got the Oris caliber 400 inside, which means, you know, we've got a 5-day power reserve and it's a pretty all-round solid watch. But the interesting thing with this, of course, is the bright green dial. They call it the Kermit for a good reason, and it's Kermit green, that's the colour, with white or indices, as you can see, so it's fairly, you know, easy on the eye. But the fascinating thing is at the 6 o'clock position on the dial is the date window. And what Oris have decided to do to make this an interesting piece is on the first day of the month, the number 1 day, they've got an emoji of Kermit for us. So there's no doubt this is a Kermit, and, you know, on the first of the month, every month, you can celebrate Kermit Day because it's, you know, I think that's such a cheerful and exciting little thing to throw out there. It's not subtle, but it's fiendishly charming in my mind. The watch isn't cheap, £3,880. So, you know, if you're going into Oris for that sort of money, you expect something interesting and charming, and that's what you get with this piece. So very, very interesting. Now another, not an all-new watch, but a reimagining of a very well thought of classic is the IWC Engineer Automatic 40. It's a 40mm watch. Let me just get the image up on my screen. And of course it's a Gerald Genta design watch, that famous watch designer. Everybody defers to Gerald Genta because, you know, he designed the Royal Oak, he designed the Nautilus, he designed the IWC Engineer. To my mind, the bloke wasn't that innovative because everything seems to look the same that he designed. However, right, people love the Engineer, and it is a very attractive watch for the modern era. It's a revisioning. Obviously, they've brought it up to date from the original 1976 version. Again, it's available in titanium should you wish, but also available in stainless steel. 40mm, 100 meters of water resistance, 120 hours in the power reserve. It's only 10.7mm thick, and this watch, I think it would fly somewhat under the radar. It's very anti-magnetic, one of the qualities this watch has, in the sort of same vein as the recently discontinued Rolex Milgauss, is it was designed for engineers. Engineer tells you that, I believe it's the actual word for engineer in French, and you know, it's designed for people working within close proximity to high magnetic fields, so your watch's accuracy does not get affected by that. That's one of the reasons why the Engineer was introduced. And well, all of these things are immaterial. The aesthetic is what is important when you're buying a watch in the modern era. For us gentlemen, it is essentially a pseudo piece of jewellery because that's why we wear them these days. We don't need to wear watches. We can look at our mobile phones for the time. So the aesthetic is what counts. And for me, looking at the aesthetic of this piece, it is a beautiful watch. It has within the bezel hearkenings to the Royal Oak, you know, with those sort of screw, whether they're faux screws or not, but those rivets or whatever you want to call them on the bezel, which give it the appearance of a Gerald Genta design. Yeah, it's a beautiful piece. Available in platinum and stainless steel, and in some lovely colorways. The interesting thing is on the dial, you see this sort of checker pattern, and I think it's very attractive. It's been described as a grid style decoration, and the standout color for me is this greeny blue, sort of peacock blue. Very nice, not cheap though. £9,500 on the stainless steel, 11,700 on the titanium, but certainly a modern classic, and it's sure to be hugely oversubscribed in the jewellery stores. So moving on, talking about, let's stay with titanium. All of these watches so far have featured the element of titanium, and I'm going to stick with that, because another watch which piqued my interest was the Rolex YachtMaster 4T2, now available, no longer only available in precious metal, but now available in titanium. Although hugely expensive, 11,400 British pounds, and yeah, titanium case, very attractive watch. In a 42mm, you've got that sort of matte bezel, which is three-dimensional. You know, the markers on the bezel indicating your diving time are sort of, they stand proud of the bezel, so it's three-dimensional appearance. And I reviewed this in my Rolex review video. Lovely piece, 100 meters of water resistance, 70 hours power reserve, as you'd come to expect. A few little disappointments in that watch, in that it only has an easy link bracelet, clasp rather, on the bracelet, so you don't get the glide lock which you would hope for, which you get on the Submariner model. Yeah, a nice watch. I think it's one of the standout pieces which Rolex released this year, with a few little things that could have been improved. My observation though, this just looks like a fancy Submariner. You know, when you look at this initially, when I saw this, I thought, my God, what have they done to the Submariner? But actually, it's the YachtMaster. So yeah, YachtMaster opening a new chapter within its design over at Rolex. Hopefully sometime in the future, that watch will be available in a 40mm, because 42 I find just a little too chunky for my wrist, and possibly for the average guy's wrist, because I'm just an average sized person. Staying with Rolex, the other one which I think caught a lot of attention was that Oyster Perpetual celebration dial, or the bubbles dial, whatever you'd like to call it. And that pattern on the dial is available in the 31, 36 and 41mm sizes, so multi-sex, whoever wants to wear it can. And you know, it is obviously Rolex's entry level, the Oyster Perpetual, £5,400. But this one is so playful, so joyous in its appearance. Yes, people say it does look like somebody's vomited over the dial with all of this, you know, miasma of colours over there. But you've got the yellows and the coral reds and the turquoise and the green. It's a whole mishmash of stuff. But I think it's fun, and it's nice to see a watch brand who is so conservative, so slow moving in their evolution as Rolex, to have brought out something cheerful and happy. And I know they brought a few other pieces out this year which may have surprised people, but yeah, I rather like it. So that was one which piqued my interest. As I said, I'd never want to own one, but I can see the fun in it, and that's an important thing. Now, stepping away from the big name brands, a brand which I'm particularly interested in, JLC. I am very close to being interested in a Reverso, and JLC brought out a few interesting Reversos this year. They brought out their JLC Reverso small seconds, so it's a hand winding piece with a 42-hour power reserve. It is a very, I would go as far as to say conservative. It's available in stainless steel and rose gold, so very much a classic elemental dress watch in its rectangular fashion. It comes in 3 different colours. You've got a red dial, black dial and a white dial, and as I say, they are available, or some of them are available on different either precious metal or stainless steel cases, depending on what you'd like to go for. I just think it's a beautiful piece. My choice would be the stainless steel with the white face. I just think that hits the mark for me as what would be a functional daily wearer, so you could easily wear the JLC as, you know, your daily piece, but also it could double up duty as your smart dress watch when you're going out to a, you know, an evening event perhaps, and you're wearing a blazer, or you're wearing maybe even a dinner jacket. I know you shouldn't wear a wristwatch when you're in black tie, because, you know, it's disrespectful to the host to have an eye on the time, but truth is, if you want to wear a watch as a gentleman, and we often do, something like a JLC will really cut a dash in the crowd. Now, staying with the rectangular style, another watch which really drew my attention this year was the Cartier Preve Tank Normal. Yellow gold and platinum, so these are very much dress watches, very expensive, circa, in excess of 25k. My pick would be the yellow gold on leather, because they also come on a full metal bracelet, whether it's platinum or whether it's yellow gold. But for me, a Cartier looks its very best when it's a light case, either stainless steel, metal, whatever. In this case, it would have to be platinum or yellow gold on some sort of dark leather band, and I think that is absolutely delicious watch, this one. I talked about wearing a watch as your dress watch. This Cartier would absolutely kill it. And manual winding watch, so it's got a bit of the tradition about it, but absolutely classical in appearance. Okay, so just winding up, I just wanted to reflect upon some of the watches which perhaps didn't, maybe have YouTubers gushing about them because they were not in any of the big name brands, although they're all quite well known to us, of course, these brands. But there are two watches which I have said, these are my fantasy picks, all right? One is a fantasy pick I would definitely like to buy, and the other is a definite fantasy pick. And my definite fantasy pick, and it's a garish watch, it is in your face all day long, it is the Royal Oak with a turquoise dial. Now this watch came out this year, and yellow gold, total integrated bracelet and head of the watch, and a dashing turquoise dial with gold hands and indices. So this is a luxurious watch in its absolute zenith. 52,800 British pounds, 37 millimeters, so highly wearable by any size wrist. 50 meters of water resistance, so it's absolutely, people consider the Royal Oak to be a bit of a sports watch, but in reality, it's not a great performer. It's only 9.3 millimeters thick, but this watch with these colors, oh my word, with these colors, this is just a watch which is a statement piece. If you're going to wear this watch with a natural turquoise dial, it is, well, that was my fantasy watch. This is that lottery win watch, isn't it? That you'll never actually own. But if someday it happened, I'd be knocking on the door to Audemars Piguet, another Gerald Genter designed watch in that very identifiable style which he brought to his pieces. But yes, I rather like that one. However, is there one watch which I would actually buy from the watches which were released in Watches and Wonders 2023? And certainly there is. And that is one which I actually put on my wrist today, earlier on. I went to my local Tudor store. There is a clue. And I walked in, and already, this is the beauty of Tudor, only a few days after these watches were released, we're talking 5 days after their official release, they're already in the authorised dealers for you to try on. I tried on the Tudor Black Bay 54 today. Now this is their unexpected release this year, 2023. It is a 37 millimeter watch, so they've got that Black Bay distinctive appearance. The DNA of that watch is totally Black Bay, however reduced in size, 37 millimeters, to a size which anybody could wear. Now I put this watch on my own wrist. I've got a 6.5 inch wrist for reference, and you know what? When you hear 37 millimeters on a dive watch, you think, ooh, that's going to wear small. Not at all. This watch looked bloody glorious. I have to tell you, I tried it on, and it was winner, chicken dinner for me. My wife followed me into the store because I'd sneaked in the watch shop when she was looking elsewhere, and I said, darling, try this one on. So my wife tried it on her wrist, and again, it didn't look out of place. It was a damn good fit. She normally wears a 31 millimeter watch, so a little bit larger than she's used to, but it absolutely worked. So I think what Tudor have done with this piece is brought us a watch in a size which is going to be highly wearable. Now a lot of people will say 37 millimeters, bit small. Remember the watch we just looked at? That Royal Oak by Audemars Piguet? That was 37 millimeters too. There is definitely a trend, I think, towards making watches which are pleasant to wear rather than big juggernauts of pieces. Now that Tudor, 37mm but 11mm thick, so it fits beautifully on the wrist. Automatic movement, of course, 70 hours power reserve, 200 meters of water resistance thanks to that screw down crown. So it's an unguarded crown, there's no crown guards there, so it gives it a nice, you know, slick appearance. It's not hindered by many watches, as many watches are, by having quite bulky crown guards. This one works as what I would say is a daily wearer, a watch you can wear to work, and a watch you can wear in the pool. It has a beautiful Oyster style bracelet with a T-fit clasp. Always get a lovely fit. And one of the things I noticed, which doesn't come out in the images, is there's quite a distinctive taper to the bracelet, and it absolutely fits like a glove on pretty much anybody's wrist. And for me, having tried that watch on today, I am now seriously having doubts about whether or not I should bring one of these into the collection. Now my issue is, I've got a Rolex Submariner. I've got a 40mm Rolex Submariner. And I'm thinking, if I was to buy a Tudor like this, it would make the Submariner redundant. But I'm thinking, I think this wears better on my wrist than the Submariner. I think this looks better on my wrist. And of course, you don't have to worry about a Tudor. When you're walking around the streets, the Tudor's £3,200, by the way. So less than half the price of a Submariner. But also, you know, you're not going to get mugged for a Tudor in reality. People are not going to, you know, knock you over the head or cut your wrist off with a machete, as they might if you're wearing a Rolex Submariner. So, lots to think about for me. And yeah, I'm really wavering. I really like this watch on my wrist. It worked so well. So there we go. That was just my roundup really of Watches of Wonders 2023. Some of the pieces I really liked. My fantasy pick, and a pick I could really put on the wrist. And wow, you know, what a year for wristwatch lovers and aficionados 2023 was. I very much look forward to 2024. I may, depending on how life pans out, head over to Geneva next year to participate in Watches and Wonders and, you know, get the full experience. But we'll see. You know, it's a bit of a fantasy, but we'll see how the year goes and we'll take it from there. So until the next time, take care. Don't forget, if you've enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Click the red button if you'd like to see more. You can support the channel by buying me a coffee or becoming a patron, where you will get additional videos. Or simply, if you want to contribute to the channel, just leave a message, leave a comment in the comment section below. Become part of the conversation. So as I say, until the next time, take care. Wear your watches, whatever they look like, with pride and passion. And I will see you again very soon.